Motherwell Football Club are a Scottish professional football club based in Motherwell, North Lanarkshire. The club compete in the Scottish Premiership. Motherwell have not dropped out of the top flight of Scottish football since 1985, but have only lifted one trophy in that to me the Scottish Cup in 1991. Clad in the traditional claret and amber, Motherwell play their home matches at Fir Park Stadium and have done since 1896. The club's main rivals over the years have been Hamilton Academical and Airdrieonians, due in part to their close geographical proximities. This is known as the Lanarkshire Derby. The club have won 5 major trophies in domestic football. The Scottish League title in 1931 Euro 32, the Scottish Cup in 1951 Euro 52 and 1990 Euro 91. The Scottish League Cup in 1950 Euro 51 and the Summer Cup in 1964 Euro 65. History, beginnings. Motherwell F.C. were born on May 17, 1886, when representatives of the two main Motherwell Works teams, Glencairn F.C. and Alpha F.C. met in Bailey's pub in the town's Mary Street, and decided to merge the two teams, with the aim of creating a club to represent the town as a whole at a higher footballing level. Motherwell's debut fixture proved to be a successful one as they overcame Hamilton Academical 3 Euro 2. The early years proved somewhat chaotic as the club had little regular competition to play in, and matches would often start with players short, as men failed to turn up on time after their shifts in the local ironworks. On August 5, 1893 the decision was made to turn professional, and they were consequently elected to the league, then being the only Lanarkshire side to compete at national level. Up until 1895 the club had played at a few different venues, including a site at Roman Road, and Dalziel Park. The small pitch and muddy conditions at Dalziel Park were deemed unsuitable and fortunately Lord Hamilton granted a lease on a plot of land on his DL estate. This new ground was named Fir Park and has remained the club's home for over 100 years. The following years saw the club grow, appointing their first and longest-serving manager to date, John Sailor Hunter, who would go on to steer the club into its most successful period. In 1913 the decision was made to change the club's colours from blue to the now signature claret and amber. It is thought this was inspired by the success of Bradford City, who also sport claret and amber, although a more romantic version of events claims them to have been Lord Hamilton of DL's racing colours. 1920s and 1930s successes. Motherwell enjoyed a successful period in the aftermath of World War I, managed by John Hunter. The club placed third in the 1919 Euro 20 season and, although narrowly avoiding relegation in 1924 Euro 25, they steadily climbed the table and enjoyed 7 successive seasons finishing in the top 3. In the summer of 1927, the club made a very successful tour of Spain, winning 6 out of the 8 games they played and losing only 1. These results included an emphatic 3 Euro 1 victory over Real Madrid and a 2 Euro 2 draw with Barcelona. Following their success in Spain, the club went on another summer tour, this time of South America. After losing only 3 of their previous 10 games, the tour culminated in a 5 Euro 0 defeat by a Brazilian League Select side. Motherwell's first Division League championship came in 1931 Euro 32 Euro with 30 wins in 38 fixtures, scoring 119 goals a record 52 of which were scored by Willie McFadyen, who remains to this day the record holder for most goals scored in a single season and one of the club's all-time top goal scorers with 251 goals. The championship was sealed on April 23, 1932. When Rangers could only draw at home against Clyde, handing Motherwell the title without kicking a ball. This was also the only league title won by a club outside the Old Firm between 1904 and 1947. In the 2 seasons following the league title win, Well finished runners-up. Motherwell also contested 3 Scottish Cup finals in this period, a Euro in 1931, 1933 and 1939. Post-World War II period, following the breakup of the squad after World War II, the club were not instantly successful. It then captured 2 major trophies in as many years with victories in the 1950 Scottish League Cup final and the 1952 Scottish Cup final. The club was then relegated for the first time ever at the end of the 1952 Euro 53 season, but the club were promoted the next year. Following their return to the First Division, Bobby Ansell took management of the club in 1955 and presided over an era in which highly regarded Scotland stars including Ian St John and Charlie Aitken played for the club. However, Motherwell were unable to keep their assets, and no trophies were won in Ansell's era. His resignation came in 1965 amidst a downturn in form which eventually saw the club relegated back to the second division at the conclusion of the 1967 Euro 68 season. 1970s recovery and the McLean era. Motherwell were immediately promoted back to the first division in 1969, maintaining a mid-table position. When the 18-team First Division was superseded by a new 10-team Premier League for the 1975 Euro 76 season, at which time they were managed by Willie McLean and his assistant Craig Brown. Under their management, Motherwell improved to fourth in the table and had a highly regarded team which featured players such as Willie Pettigrew, Bobby Watson and former Liverpool player, Bobby Graham. The most notable achievement of that period was the 1976 Cup run which saw them eliminate Celtic in the first round and lose out in the semi-final to Rangers, 1980 and 90. Relegation down to the now First Division and promotion back to the Premier League occurred twice in the early 1980s, before a decade under manager Tommy McLean culminated in a Scottish Cup win in 1991. However, similarly to the Ansell era, Scotland internationalist, Tom Boyd, was sold in the close season after the Cup win. Results faded for 2 years before reaching another two-season zenith immediately following the signing of Paul Lambert with third and second-placed Premier League finishes. The 1995 runners-up finish was the club's highest finish since 1933/34. With Tommy McLean's departure to Hearts in 1994, much of his squad was broken up. A large fee in particular was paid by Celtic for Phil O'Donnell. Much of this money was reinvested in the squad, while the club cycled through managers including Alex McAleish and Harry Campman. At this point, on August 1998, John Boyle bought the club, taking over from John Chapman. Billy Davies was appointed as manager, and large transfer fees were paid for prominent players including ex-Scotland internationals John Spencer and Andy Gorham. The investment though failed to provide results on the pitch. 2000 Euro 2009, by the end of Davies' tenure the club were in financial trouble. Eric Black was briefly in charge with the club floating near the foot of the table before it was placed in administration in April 2002 with losses approaching £2 million yearly. Black resigned, and was replaced by Terry Butcher. The club's outlook remained bleak as they were forced to make redundant or release 19 players and replace them with younger players. Boyle also placed the club up for sale. Relegation in 2002 Euro 03 AA Euro normally automatic following a last-place finish in the League UEFA Euro was avoided on a technicality, as First Division winners Fir Park lacked a stadium meeting Premier League regulations. Despite the lack of resources, a number of young talented players were found to play for the club. Crucially, when many of these moved on, including Stephen Pearson and James McFadden, they brought revenue in the form of transfer fees, and with John Boyle waiving the club's personal debt to him, its financial future was assured by the conclusion of the 2004 Euro 05 season with the club's yearly losses falling to one of the lowest figures in the Premier League and the club coming out of administration in time to avoid a 10-point Premier League penalty which was being phased in for teams in administration. On the field, the club also managed to reach the League Cup final, although they were comprehensively defeated by Rangers. Butcher moved on to Sydney at the end of the 2005 Euro 06 season, and was succeeded by his assistant Maurice Malpas. Malpas' stint at the club lasted just one season before his resignation in May 2007. After a short period with Scott Light as caretaker manager, Mark McKee was appointed to the position. In his first season as manager McKee would take the club to third in the league and thus qualify for the UEFA Cup for the first time in 13 years where they would be beaten by French side AS Nancy 3-0 on aggregate. Mark McKee left Motherwell for the vacant managerial position at Aberdeen in June 2009 to be replaced by Jim Gannon. Former Scotland manager Craig Brown took over when Gannon left. 2010 a Euro present, Brown helped the club finish 5th in the SPL and qualify for Europe. The 2010 November season saw the club in the Europa League and defeated Breidablik, Alsons before losing in the play-off round to Odense, preventing them from reaching the group stages of the competition. However, Brown would leave Motherwell for Aberdeen on December 10, 2010. Stuart McCall was named as his successor. This season saw the club reach the Scottish Cup final where they would be defeated 3-0 by Celtic. The 2011 Euro 12 season saw Motherwell reach the qualifying round of the Champions League for the first time. They finished third, one place outside the normal 2 spots allocated to the SPL for the Champions League, but were given a place because Rangers, who finished above them, were prevented by UEFA from playing in European competitions due to the fact they went into liquidation. The draw for the third qualification round of the Champions League would see Motherwell drawn against Greek heavyweights, Panathinaikos. However, this would end in disappointment as they would be knocked out, losing 2-0 at home and then 3-0 away. The 2012-13 would bring even greater success in the SPL as the club finished second in the table and once again qualified for the Europa League. It also saw striker Michael Higdon win the PFA Player of the Year award and would also see goalkeeper Darren Randolph, defender Sean Hutchinson and midfielder Nicky Law in the PFA Team of the Year. Motherwell were granted associate membership of the European Club Association in June 2013. The club were invited to join after consistent qualification for European competition between 2008 and 2013. They became the 5th Scottish club to join the association. 2013-14 would see Motherwell knocked out of the Europa League by Russian side Kibin Krasnodar 3-0 on aggregate in the third qualifying round. On January 22, 2014, Motherwell won their 40th Lanarkshire Cup, beating Hamilton Academical 1-0 thanks to a 54th-minute goal by 19-year-old youngster Jacques Leitch. A dramatic but controversial 91st-minute winner from Craig Reed at Pittodrie on the last day of 2013 Euro 14 Scottish Premiership campaign saw Motherwell leapfrog Aberdeen and seal a second successive runners-up spot in the league for the Steelmen. Despite 3 successful consecutive league campaigns, Motherwell made a poor start to the 2014-15 Scottish Premiership and ultimately led to the resignation of manager Stuart McCall on November 2, 2014. Records and statistics. The club has won 4 major trophies in its history: the First Division in 1931 Euro 32, the Scottish Cup in 1952 and 1991, and the Scottish League Cup in 1950. In addition, it has won the second-tier Scottish League on 4 occasions. As the Second Division in 1953 Euro 54 and 1968 Euro 69, and as the First Division in 1981 Euro 82 and 1984 Euro 85. It also won the Milk Cup in 1983. Bob Ferrier holds the record for the number of Motherwell appearances, with 626 in the interwar period. The goal-scoring record is held by Hughie Ferguson, who scored 284 league goals in 10 seasons in the 1910s and 1920s. Willie McFadden's 52 goals in the title-winning 1931 Euro 32 season remains a club record for goals in one season. The club's record European appearance holder is Stephen Hamel, with 19 appearances for the club in Europe. The current record European goal scorer is Jamie Murphy, with 7 goals. Also, the 8 Euro 1 win over Flamatari on July 23, 2009 currently stands as their record victory in European competition. Fir Park's current safety certificate limits the capacity to 13,742, all seated in accordance with the Taylor Report, although the ground is listed as 13,677. Its average home gate for the 2011 Euro 12 season was 5,946. The club's record attendance for a home match is 35,632, against Rangers in a Scottish Cup quarter-final replay on March 12, 1952, but as season ticket holders were not counted at the time, the true attendance would be over 37,000. Motherwell's biggest win was a 12 Euro 1 victory over Dundee United in 1954. with the club's heaviest defeat being the 8-0 loss to Aberdeen in 1979. On May 5, 2010, Motherwell were involved in the highest scoring match in the SPL, drawing 6-6 with Hibernian at Fir Park, with Lukas Jutkiewicz scoring the equaliser in the 91st minute. This eclipsed another high-scoring game involving Motherwell, a 6-5 defeat by Aberdeen on October 20, 1999. The record transfer fee paid by the club was to Everton for John Spencer in 1999, and the highest received was that for Phil O'Donnell for his move to Celtic in 1994. O'Donnell later rejoined Motherwell in 2004, but his second spell at Fir Park ended when he died after collapsing on the pitch in a game against Dundee United on December 29, 2007. Stephen Craigan holds the record for the most capped player at the club, with 54 caps in total, 51 as a Motherwell player a year in Northern Ireland. Honours: one The Scottish Football Federation was short-lived non-league that Motherwell competed in from 1891 a Euro 93 before being elected into the Scottish Second Division in 1893 a Euro 94.2. The Summer Cup in the 1940s was a regional competition for Southern League teams, while in the 1960s it was a National Cup competition for Scottish League Division 1 clubs. Player of the Year: the Supporters Association first handed out the award in April 1956. The first winner of the award was Andy Patton, who received a silver cup from Sailor Hunter at a dinner dance in Overton Miners' Welfare. Patton was further honoured in 2007 when he was declared the greatest ever Motherwell player. Joe Walk is the only man to win the award 3 separate times. Charlie Aitken was the first of 4 players to win the award back-to-back. Europe. UEFA ranking. As of July 5, 2013, current squad, first team squad. As of August 13, 2014, note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Reserves and under-20s squad. For more info on reserves and under-20s, see Motherwell FC reserve and youth squads. Retired numbers. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Since O'Donnell's death in 2007, only one player has worn the number 10 shirt. David Clarkson, who is the nephew of O'Donnell, wore the shirt up until he left the club in July 2009. Since then the number, although not retired, has not been issued to any subsequent player. Non-playing staff. Managers. Sponsorship. Motherwell are currently sponsored by Cash Converters, a worldwide franchise company, in a deal for the 2011 Euro 12 season, replacing Comsworld as the principal sponsor from the 2010 Euro 11 season. Due to the sponsorship deal not being agreed in time for the start of the 2010 Euro 11 UEFA Europa League, the team briefly featured www.chooselife.net as their main shirt sponsor. The team shirts continue to carry this sponsorship on the back of the shirt. Recently, they have also been sponsored by the local IT firm Login to Learn, which have also appeared on the back of the shirts. For the 2009 October season the team was sponsored by JAXX, a German gambling company. They in turn had replaced Anglian Home Improvements, who were the club's shirt sponsor from 2006 to 2008. Previous to this the club had been sponsored by Zoom Airlines, who were part-owned by club director John Boyle, and who retained advertising space on both the Davy Cooper stand and the South stand until they ceased trading in August 2008. The previous sponsor, from 2002 a Euro 04, was a local company called the Untouchables. Previously the club had enjoyed a long-term association with Motorola, but this ended after 11 years in 2002 as the sponsor started to reduce its manufacturing operations in Scotland. This had in turn followed another long-term association with local car dealer Ian Scully, who had sponsored the club since 1984. The club have had a number of different kit manufacturers since the 1970s. At present the official kit supplier is Macron, who were newly announced for the 2014-15 season to replace Puma after their 3-year deal with the club expired. Previously the club kits were supplied by New Zealand-based sporting goods manufacturer, Canterbury. who were announced as the official kit supplier to Motherwell for the 4 years beginning with the 2009 October season, taking over from Bugter. However, Canterbury went into administration after less than 1 year of the contract had been completed. Major manufacturers Adidas, Admiral, Hummel, Patrick, Pony, Umbro and Zara have all been kit providers for Motherwell. References. Further reading, Wilson, Derek. Motherwell FC on this day. Pitch Publishing. ISBN A978-1-905411-37-5. Wilson, Derek. Motherwell FC Miscellany. Pitch Publishing. ISBN A978-1-905411-37-5. External links, official Motherwell Football Club site, news and statistics, Motherwellnet, Motherwell FC News Now, Motherwell FC BBC Sport, Motherwell FC Sky Sports, Motherwell FC ESPN, Motherwell FC UEFA, Motherwell FC Whitehall Press, Motherwell FC Pie and Bovril, Motherwell FC Soxerbase.